Kevin, you had inquired about employee raises, looking into that, and you got the information from Mr. Brett. At this point, it's my opinion that employee raises are not something that we should be even consider before we go to the residents about getting our 6 mil levy replaced. Because I don't think giving raises and then going to the residents and saying, hey, we need this money is a good idea. I think when we educate the residents on why we need the 6 mil levy, we should inform them of how long it's been since employees have had any raises. Our employees are very low wage. We do need to increase that to be competitive, to keep employees. But I don't think that's something we should just do and then go ask for money. I think that is something that we should inform the residents of as another reason why we need to pass the levy. Do you have different thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's a very cogent argument. I do look at it through a different lens. So the total impact was some less than $10,000 to the general fund, right? And I need to better appreciate what the other line about the maintenance fund is, because I didn't appreciate that wasn't the general fund. So I'm not fully up to speed yet, but
the hit to the general fund was $5,673.
When it comes to the maintenance department, some of the money for the maintenance department comes from the general fund, other comes from other.
Right now, because we're short a person, the service department's been paid mainly out of the streets fund, out of the money that comes to that. Because the auditors want to see how you divvy up the time. The service department this year has been keeping track of their time, what they spend where, and it's pretty close to 50% of their time is spent in the park. Obviously, the park is not gonna sustain 50% of their salary, but you know, it is beneficial to people. So, but the service department, total hit, and when I say total, that's all our costs. So it's
all up to
PERS,
3 employees.
yeah, PERS, it's Medicare, it's everything that we match. So the employees aren't gonna make that much money, but that's the hit to the budgets, and theirs was 8,661.
So I think there's certainly an argument that I think you've articulated just fine, that there's a responsibility to the taxpayers and to the public in general to do that in a wise procession of steps. The counter argument, I think, is twofold. I think there's basic moral argument, and I think there is a strategic planning argument. And I expect the latter to be more convincing. But if our employees are making very low wages for the difficulty of their work, that should bother us. That they haven't had a raise through hideous inflation, which is affecting lower income people disproportionately because it's at that core living level. So do they deserve it? Yes. Setting that aside, strategically, we have to pay them enough for them to exist. We lose sight of that in this society in general, but we have to pay for them to exist so that they can come work for us. And that needs to be enough. So that's element A of the strategic part. B, our employees are aging out. We're probably going to have to attract new people at some point. They can currently make more overdoses. So
And I
it's
will
going
mention that
to continue to be hard to hire people, and that's going to go for our professional jobs as well. So
we weren't able to hire someone until the one gentleman came along that had to do some community service that liked working here and agreed to work for $15 an hour in the service department. And he only lasted a month because of health reasons, not because of the job. But, yeah, there's, when you look at the ads that are out there for other communities, you would have to find somebody like him that just wanted to work here because it was close to home, and so.
I agree with you 100%, Kevin. Our employees are paid very, very low wages, and they all need to be brought up. But, like I said, given the financial situation right now, I don't think it would be advisable. For one thing, you have to think about perception, the public perception. And I know Cleves is a small town, the rumor mill's worse than the small town, but we give employee raises, and then the public's gonna have the misconception that we have money to give raises, now we want more money from them. I just think that hurt us. I think when we educate them, whether it be newsletter, another mailing, or through the website, however we do it, another town hall meeting, I think we need to educate the residents that this is one of the things that needs to be addressed, but we cannot address it without funds in the general fund.
If you could allow me just one more. I'm agnostic as to what the most persuasive argument to the population is. There is, so me personally, and you know that I'm brash, that's the proper name for what I tend to call bold. Frankly, at the scale that we're talking about, I don't think it's particularly irresponsible, or, like, my decision, I'd move forward immediately. I think that in terms of the scale of, what, 5,000 in one bin and another 8 or 9 in another bin, over 5 years, we're talking about then $50,000 out of, our shortfall is X, whatever. We're talking about a couple of months added to our insolvency target that is currently on the year scale. And balancing that with my arguments for a moral action, I tend to say, that doesn't those couple months doesn't persuade me. But that's my take.
I understand where you're coming from, and frankly, I agree with you, but having been on council quite a while, long enough to have seen several levies, I've seen several fail, we've had several pass, and I'm gonna hold steady to the fact that I think we really need to educate the public as to why we need this money, we really need to get the 6 mil levy passed. Now, in saying that, that's another thing we need to talk about.